Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is kind of a part 2 video of sorts. A couple of weeks ago I did an unboxing of the Canon EOS R, the first ever Canon full frame mirrorless camera, and I just wanted to give you a few thoughts about this camera and my experience with it so far, and what I'm going to do to try and even further enhance the experience of using this camera. The first thing I have to say is that in terms of still quality, this camera is pretty awesome. It's well on par with the Sonys, and the eye autofocus actually works quite well, surprisingly. There have been a lot of reports that the eye focus doesn't work as well as Sony, and in a way it doesn't, because you've got to be much closer to the subject, and the head of the subject has to kind of feel more of the frame before the eye focus works. But it does work, and with the new firmware upgrade to version 1.2 that was just released yesterday, you can now get eye autofocus using the servo or the continuous autofocus and not just a single focus, which is going to be a massive bonus for this camera as well. And as I said, the still images, using, as long as you got decent glass on it, looks amazing. And you can put 70 to 200, you can put your 35 1.4 and the 85 and all those great lenses that you used to use with your old Canon bodies. You can definitely use on this lens, and they work exceptionally well with the adapter. I don't have any of the native mirrorless RF lenses, so I've just been adapting my EF lenses to them, and they work really well, so I don't think you're going to have any problems with that, any issues at all. And I would certainly, in my situation, as I said, where I've been using this as a additional camera with all the EF lenses that I already own, that I would not have any hesitation in recommending this camera if you got pre-existing EF lenses which are of good quality. Would I buy this camera at this point if I had no lenses of Canon? Look, it's difficult to say, but I would probably still go towards Sony at this point, because the autofocus is better with the conditions that I stated in the last couple of minutes, but it is superior in that way. But this EOS R is pretty awesome anyway, and if you're prepared to invest in some of the fast lenses which are either out or coming out in the next 1 to 2 years, like the 24-70 f2 or the 51.2, this system won't let you down at all. So having said that, I just want to have a quick word to you about the video. Now, the biggest issue I found with this camera, with the video, is definitely when you're shooting in 4K, it's the 1.7 times crop. Currently I'm filming this with the 16 to 35. First thing is, it's not stabilized, so it's fine now because it's on a tripod, but it's no good when you're hand holding it trying to vlog. And the other thing is, with the 1.7 times crop, I'm probably sitting about a meter away from the camera at the moment, and you can see what percentage of me fills the frame. But if I was to get closer, and this is basically how I would, this is as close as I can get with the extended hand when I'm vlogging. You can see how close my head is, and it doesn't even fit basically, and it's a heavy thing, it's not stabilized, and at 16, which comes out to the equivalent of like 25 or something in with the crop, it is not a practical use in terms of hand holding this camera to vlog. It's fine when you're sitting away like I was doing before, and I'm currently, as I said, about a meter or so away, and that's perfectly fine. But with hand holding on a tripod or mini tripod or whatever, I don't think that this lens and camera combo is good for shooting 4K. The video quality is fine, it's just the fact with the crop. So what have I done about that? Last weekend went and picked up this. So I would normally never pick up a lens which is as slow as this. This is actually a crop sensor lens. So this is an EFS 10 to 18 millimeter. It's at 4.5 to 5.6. So it's a slow lens. It's a crop lens. So this won't fit like on your 5D Mark IV or anything like this, but it will work on the EOS R. And I've got a feeling that this is going to be much more suitable for vlogging than any of the lenses I've got. Number one, it's much wider, so it's a 10 millimeter, so equivalent, that makes it 17 millimeters with the 1.7 times crop. And this is roughly, you know, what I've got on 16-35, except this is a full frame. So the full frame 16-35 ends up being like, I don't know, 22 to something. So this is 10-18, and it's image stabilized. So that's the other thing. Without inbuilt in-body image stabilization on this camera, got a feeling that the IBIS or the IS on this lens is going to be really useful. And the fact it's an STM lens, so the motor is smoother and makes less noise, and when you zoom it doesn't have such a jerky motion. So I think this is a lens that I'm going to try out. It only costs about $390, $400, so it's not a really expensive lens. There's a 10-20 f4, I believe, which is an L lens, which is obviously at least 2.5 times more expensive, this lens. I can't remember if it's stabilized or not, but I think this lens is going to be quite appropriate for what I need, and I'm going to give this a go. And I'm just going to quickly unbox it for you. So the first thing that's come out is a warranty card. There's the instruction manual. I mean, like, who doesn't know how to put a lens on, right? And here's the lens itself. It's very well packed in this bubble wrap. And here it is. So the first thing I noticed with this lens is actually that it is really light, which is going to be good for when you're trying to handhold the thing. It's not huge, and it's got a 67mm thread on it, so I will be able to put my 100 macro UV filter on this lens to protect it. Now, the question of whether you should use a UV filter, I'm a firm believer that I don't use it for anything else except for protection of the front of the lens. When you're walking around, you're going to get dirt and stuff on it, and even when you try and clean that, excuse the train again, there's another train coming past, but when you try and clean that, you're either going to use a blower or a cloth, and the cloth is likely to rub the dirt into the lens, and one of the risks of that is obviously scratching it, and I don't want to do that. So I like using UV filters. UV filters are also going to be useful if, you know, there's a stray little pebble, but it's not going to be useful if you drop it. Theoretically, what happens is if you drop the lens, the filter breaks and the lens survives, but I'm not sure that that's going to be the case. And I think that if you drop a lens with the UV filter, it's probably going to break anyway. But little superficial scratches, I'm paranoid about those. I think a UV filter is really important. Does it degrade the image quality? Yeah, you mean, the argument is you don't want to put a $10 filter on a $4,000 lens because it may degrade the image quality, but with something like this, which is only like a slow average lens anyway, I think a cheap UV filter will be fine. I have spent upwards of $250 on a UV filter on my 70-200 and 85-1.4 and stuff like that, but I certainly wouldn't spend $200 on a filter for a $400 lens. So if you look at the lens itself, there's the image stabilizer on-off, there's the autofocus, manual focus, and basically just the zoom ring. You can see that the lens extends slightly, but the zoom range isn't very wide and big anyway. It's only 10-18, and it's kind of a plasticky mount. And after you take the lens cap, and that's what it looks like. That. So that's pretty much for the unboxing. As I said, I bought this lens predominantly so that it could go wider and it's going to be easier to vlog with, and in a minute I'm going to change this lens over and put it on the EOS R and show you the difference and show you whether and have a look to see whether it is actually a better lens for this purpose. Would I leave this lens on to take stills? Probably only as a pinch. As said, the lens is slow, the minimum, the widest aperture you can go is like 4.5 and 5.6 at the long end, and I don't think that you're going to get very good images out of this, but I think this will be perfect for video. And in a second, as I said, I'm going to swap the lenses over, put this on and show you what it looks like. Okay, now I'm back and I've now got the 10-18 on this. This is at 10mm. I'm holding it at arm's length with the EOS R mounted on a Joby Gorilla Pod, and you can see that the field of view is much wider, and I think it's exactly what we need in terms of being able to vlog, because I'm actually really already impressed with this lens, because it's much lighter, it's not going to wobble as much, and I can actually feel like I can walk around with this lens with the image stabilization, and it's going to look pretty good. So I do feel like the image stabilization here is going to be a massive bonus. I am going to take this lens on a little bit of a trip tomorrow and report back to you as to how good it is, but in the meantime, yeah, I'm pretty impressed. So this could well become my go-to vlogging lens for this EOS R. I will bring an additional lens, maybe the 24-105 f4, which is also image stabilized, and I'll bring that in my bag for when I do want to do some stills. But I think this would be ideal for vlogging, and I'm actually quite happy already with this lens. So that's actually it for this video, except for one last thing I'm going to show you. This is currently at 10mm. I'm going to just zoom it in, and that's 18mm. So that's the angle you can get. This is, I am currently have the camera at arm's length, so I could theoretically lift this up and shoot with this, and that's 18mm. But obviously if you go a little bit wider, it's way better. So far I'm really impressed with this lens. I'm going to check out the video quality, and I may actually even do some stills with this tomorrow just to see what it looks like. This is going to be, I think, a good investment for me, $400. And as usual, if you like this video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up or a comment down below, and please subscribe to my channel. I will bring you another video soon. So happy Easter, happy Good Friday. Hope you have a great time with your family. Enjoy the long weekend, and I'll catch you again soon. See ya.